welcome to the Greenfield Public Schools Committee meeting, Policy and Program Subcommittee. It's 11:01 and I'll call the roll call. Member Proietti.
Here.
Member Denise.
Here.
And I'm here, and we have a quorum, so we'll get started. The only item on the agenda today is reviewing section I. And the full committee approved this on a first reading, maybe December. And
I think so.
Yep. So this is our first chance to look at it as a subcommittee, and hope is to bring something to the school committee for the February meeting for a second reading. I thought maybe we could start with general. I don't know if people had questions or changes that you'd like to see. Maybe we could have a discussion about that before we do a vote on approving it.
I had a few questions.
Great. Go ahead, Member Deneve.
Mostly because section I is really meaty. It's like 120 plus pages of stuff, and it's hard to get through. But as I was reading, I was wondering if there were a few places where we could be a little bit more current, but also I wanted to ask a few questions about it. For example, in IB, academic freedom, we mention, I'm sorry, I'm downloading it again. Here we go. Okay. It mentions that we educate students in democratic tradition and respect for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And I was wondering if is this a section where we might want to include that some sort of foundational point about educating students regardless of sexual or gender orientation? Or is that something that would reside in another part of policy only?
I believe that I believe there are policies in section A, but I'd have to look, that sort of speak to the fact that policies are all-inclusive regardless of race, religion. I believe that to be the case, but I will double check that.
I thought so too, but I just wanted to ask because it seemed like that was the kind of the place to put it. But if we have an umbrella policy, then
I think so, but I can certainly double check.
I had noted one place where sexual orientation is mentioned in this policy. I mean, what happened to my little window, but I will find it. Projects. The instructional materials mentions it, so I don't think that's exactly what you're talking about, Member Deneve. But that's one place where it is, sexual orientation is mentioned.
I only bring it up because when we were at YELO last week, the students were specifically asking for stronger policies around protection for our LGBTQIA students. And so I was sort of looking, when I was reading section I had what they were asking me as a kind of a guide in my head. So that's why I asked that.
I guess it would be helpful to know what aspects they felt needed to be addressed.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree.
Okay, any other comments or questions on the policy from members? Okay, I had some. Let me see, back to my notes.
Can I just share that I realized I had not made the graduation requirements current, so I do have them revised to be current. Otherwise, we've had a bunch of very happy seniors leaving with much less credits than they expected to need. And I don't think we want to do that.
Okay,
Part of I, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that correction would be welcomed by everyone. Except
yeah.
maybe the seniors.
I can review it if we get down to that section, just so you know, and I'll upload the new version for the school committee meeting.
Great. It looked to me like, I mean, I have a few things that are more like typographical, but it looked to me like HAMA repeated.
Wait a minute, HAIAMA?
Maybe it should be
I think it's IHAMA, and it does look like it's repeated.
It does. One of them will be deleted. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right.
I
Thank
see.
you.
I had a question about in special instructional programs and accommodations, programs for children with special needs.
Can you tell me what letters?
Yeah, I should have made note of that, but I
Oh.
can't find it.
Let me see. We looked at that yesterday. There was a little typo in that. Well, there was a little typo in one.
It's file IHB, but that is stricken out for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it is. I think it is IHB.
Hold, please. What the heck is that? Somehow we ended up deleting an E. IHB. The joy of this being such a meaty section. You get to scroll a lot.
Yeah. I use
Uh,
Control F to find things.
IHB, there are two of them. So frequently there are the whole section is generally made up of if there's a Greenfield version of a policy and then a more updated version from MASC.
Yep.
Barring any substantive variation, I generally went with the MASC because they would have the most current review of
Yeah.
policy. So that's what this looks like, that the Greenfield version was deleted and then following it is the MASC version.
Yeah, and that's the case throughout. And I think when we send this out to the full committee for their review, we should let them know, yes, it is 120 pages, but a lot of it is striking out. But
although for a final vote, I guess the question for you folks, my intention would be to take out the strikeouts and just give the committee a clean version.
Great. Yeah.
To review.
But I had a question about the first sentence of this policy, which is where it says, and to return to the mainstream of social society as soon as possible. I think in many cases, we're trying to ensure that children never leave the mainstream. Or so could you talk a little bit about that and that choice of language?
Well, sort of. It's, this was the language that was maintained by MASC. I think many references related to special education, whether they're statutorily referenced, are still pretty antiquated. So, I mean, if the committee wants to delete it, we can certainly delete it. I think if you put a period after self-reliance, that would represent the goal. I mean, we want all of our students to have the highest level of independence and positive function in society as they can. So
or maybe even just said, if it said return and stay in the mainstream of school society or return to it as soon as possible.
But whatever you guys want. I mean, some of this, I think to some degree, some of this policy is sort of broad strokes for the function of a school district. But absolutely, we can change this to whatever you want. We
All
could
right,
say,
well-
and to remain in or return to the mainstream of school society as soon as possible.
Yeah, I would propose that. Is there any objection to that? Okay. All right.
And two, hold on, let me edit now.
Yep.
Remain in or return to. Okay, all set.
Okay. And then I noted that the gifted and talented policy is completely stricken. Can you speak to that at all, or unless I misunderstood?
Let me find it. I don't know if you have letters. Oh, gifted and talented. Unless we're missing something. Oh, MASC does not have this policy, and we do
Yeah.
not have program for gifted and talented. And unless I have missed something, which I'm open to have missed, it is not required.
Okay,
So-
great. I say striking it
I was
seems like a
gonna
good
ask
idea
about
then.
that because I've
Yeah.
asked as a parent about those programs and they're not there, so I was gonna ask a similar question.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see the next one that I have. So the next ones were about the homeschooling policy.
Karen has confirmed that the homeschool policy, and I'm looking at her. Homeschool policy, one is deleted. And then the new one added. Karen confirmed for me that is the new version. Where the heck did it go?
IHGBG. IHBG.
IHBG. I know, I saw it yesterday. Where the heck is it? Down, is it out of order?
Well, I don't have page numbers.
Mine is not here. Okay, I have to put it back in. For some reason, my version that was used to provide your version doesn't have that policy.
That's
But
weird.
that
Okay.
is super weird, but I'll put it back in and
Oh,
that is.
wait, and it also says at the bottom, that's the alternative schools program goes to IHBH. Okay. Okay, so then,
That's the new one that you folks voted.
okay, maybe that's why it's not in your packets, because we already approved that one.
I think it might be out of order because I swear I read it earlier this morning, not crossed out, and now I also can't find it.
I see
Amy.
a crossed out version followed by a non-crossed out version with all the words in red.
The two crossed out versions are exceptionally long, and those are definitely not the
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, there is one in here though that I have that's not crossed out. It follows the two crossed out versions. And
Good.
it is in red. It's not crossed out, but it is in red as opposed to other policies.
Okay. Then that is likely the edit that I inserted.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I guess part of this policy talks about a report from an annual report from the superintendent to the school committee about homeschooling instruction. And I just wondered what that looks like, because I'm assuming there's privacy issues. Oh yeah, the superintendent will prepare for the school committee an annual summary of the children who participate in home instruction.
Karen just said she usually includes that in an assistant superintendent report at some point during the year.
Oh, okay. And what does that look like? I don't remember.
Literally just numbers.
How many
Yeah,
people?
it's just data. I remember it from last year only because it was around the same time that we reviewed and changed the policy.
Great. And is this, we also approved a policy about homeschoolers' access to school district programs. Is that a different policy?
No,
That was the
you,
sports one, I believe,
Right.
right?
yes, just athletics.
And that's in a different section of our policy.
No, it should be in this, so
Oh,
if
it should be,
that's.
okay. I didn't see it, but
Is the version that you have the right one?
why don't I share my screen so everyone can see what I'm looking at?
Great.
Could you make me a co-host so I can share
I
my screen?
can, yes. So the issue, as soon as I find you, yes, you can. Hold on. Glenn, there you are.
Just so
So
we can't hear Karen, we can, I know
I know,
you're in the room with me.
we get echoes. So the issue is you didn't specifically add students who are homeschooled may participate in athletics. You just took out that they may not.
Okay, I see.
So yes, this is the current, there was a line that said students may not participate in,
Yeah,
and now that is gone.
okay. And by default, since it's not prohibited, it's with the superintendent's discretion, essentially.
It's allowed. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, let's see. Yeah, so under instructional materials, oh, you guys are looking at my,
Yeah, looking at your notes.
yeah.
Let me
Mm.
find instructional materials. I assume you're going in order, Glenn, so that makes it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Instructional materials, policy IJ.
On item 5, it lists physical disabilities or sexual orientation. I'm wondering if we can add gender identity to this list.
So my edit, so you folks, I think, have pink. Anything that's pink, yeah, you see the edit. But yes, I can add and for gender identity.
No objection, Amy and Elizabeth?
No. Glenn, can we continue this scroll down share screen experience for this whole policy? Because it's so meaty.
Yeah, of course.
I've got it open on 3 different screens over here and I'm gonna lose my mind.
That's fine, yeah. But
And I'm remembering questions.
I kind of want to keep the focus just on the policy. So rather than going
Yeah.
back and forth to my notes. So I'm going to change this share a little bit, just a second. Okay. And now you all can see it. Okay. Oh, there's just, for some reason, under academic achievement, it's still using the his, her thing, but I think we're using they, them, right? Okay. And
Go
then,
back through and check throughout the whole thing for that.
yeah, okay, great. And then my final comment was about the graduation requirement. It looked like there's a blank space where we need to insert the name of our schools.
I did.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And updated. So let me tell you what the update is. Let me find graduation. The other thing, as I'm scrolling down to graduation, that I want you folks to be aware of, all of the acceptable use and digital policies are going to have to be re-reviewed. We will need to review those in great detail with our attorneys, but the amount of time that it will take, oh, good, Glenn. The amount of time that it will take us to do that, I think that in the interest of getting the policy manual as a whole updated on the MASC website, it makes sense to just leave those as they have been, fix everything else, and then we can bring you these policies individually for review.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be months more. And I know that the committee wants the manual on the MASC site as a hosted policy manual.
Nice. Okay, great.
I'm getting there. Hold on.
Is
Oh.
anyone else?
Yes, I have it. So in order to graduate from Greenfield High School, student must have earned at least 120 credits, not 95.
Okay,
Then the breakdown is 20 credits of English, 15 of math, 15 of science, 15 of social studies, 5 of health, 10 wellness, 2.5 credits of tech, 10 credits of arts and humanities, and then 27 additional. So that's the current, those are the current graduation requirements. And again, I'll resend this out with all of the, with this modification in it.
excellent. Any other discussion of or questions about section I?
I had just a quick question. Under IHAE, physical education,
IHAE.
yeah,
Okay.
it's not so much a change as just a clarification, because I'm going back to the students were asking me about this one last week at that conference. It says that may include but is not limited to recreational, team sports, fitness, and daily activities such as walking, running, climbing, and gardening, dance, yoga, swimming, and stretching. And the students were asking if they can get gym credits, physical education credits for activities like does sports qualify? And I said, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure sports qualifies because it's in our policy.
No,
But I wanted to check.
it doesn't. And that, if they were looking to clarify that, I'm sorry they didn't go to their guidance counselors. They could have clarified for them very quickly. I'm still scrolling, Elizabeth, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm not seeing a revised IHAE. I'm seeing it stricken.
Stricken?
Yeah.
All right, then. There's, if I can find it, I can speak intelligently about it. I'm almost there. So a couple things. There are, first of all, I know why we cut this. MASC does not have a policy on this anymore. The topics covered under physical education are identified in the standards through the Department of Education. We would follow those. And our graduation requirements identify how much, and state statute identifies how much physical education students need to have. So this is redundant on multiple fronts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew I could say something intelligent if I saw my notes in front of me.
No, that's great. I really appreciate it. I just was kind of trying to see, like you were saying earlier, having the policy manual up and current is like one step, but then the next step is us going through and adjusting and changing and making things work for our district specifically. So I kind of am still getting my mind around what we have in place versus what is best practice versus what we can change and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So thank you.
Sure.
Any other discussion of section I? Okay, so we hear a motion to approve section I with the changes as discussed.
So moved.
Is there-
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Member Deneve,
Yes.
Member Prietti,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so it passes unanimously to be brought to the full committee for a second reading.
Perfect.
Great.
One more down.
How many more do we have?
Well, I
getting
skipped
close.
H, but that only has 3 policies, so I can get that one in quick. JK, I think it's JKL is the last.
And are any of those big ones like this one?
Oh, they all are.
They all are, okay.
Yeah.
All right, get on
They
your
are.
reading specs, folks.
Yeah, they are all that long. I
Yeah,
know. I will finish them before I leave. Because
Yeah.
Karen has my address, so I'm finishing them before I leave.
how soon can we get this to the full committee to have time to read?
This, I
Yeah,
would assume this would be on the February meeting.
no, but can we get it to them today so they have time to read it? They have 13 days, basically.
What if I commit to tomorrow? Because I have to accept all the deletions and all that.
Sure, that'd be great. As soon as you can would be wonderful because I know we have some very thorough members who may want to read every word, and I don't want I don't want to put off the vote. I want to pass this in February.
And then move on to, I have started working on the next section and it is absolutely as long as this one.
Is there a possibility we can do the one with only 3 items for first reading on the 14th?
I'm sure I can, yes.
That'd be great. Okay, terrific. All right. Well, with that, I guess I would hear a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Okay, any discussion? No discussion? Vote. Member Prietti,
Yes.
Member Deneve,
yes.
and I'm a yes, so we are adjourned at 11:28 a.m. Thank you very much, Superintendent, for all your work on this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Good
you.
thing.
Bye, everyone.